Hello everyone and welcome to the follow-up event to Dr. Pillai's April 26th Masterclass. During that live class, Dr. Pillai shared with us his new life-changing teachings and techniques on timeline jumping, city powers, and Lightbody activation. During this class, he also announced his new Lightbody Enhanced 12-month Masterclass. We had such a great response and flooding of questions about this new Lightbody Enhanced program that Dr. Pillai wanted to have a follow-up session and also an opportunity to provide you a new teaching today. He will be answering your questions that were sent in, and he will also be providing us his new teachings on being immensely spiritual and intensely spiritual and intensely material. Following that, the questions will be answered. After Dr. Pillai concludes, I will tell you some nuts and bolts about the program and some dates you won't want to miss. So now, Dr. Pillai, thank you so much for joining us, and if you could please help us understand more about these new teachings you recently revealed.
Welcome to everyone. The topic for this morning is intensely material and intensely spiritual. Unfortunately, we have created a separation between the two. We have dichotomized reality between matter and spirit. Somehow, God has been portrayed as someone completely against matter. But you should realize that God is not poor. Who said that God is poor? Even the people who make this dichotomy wouldn't agree that God is poor. But then, deep down our psyche has been, in almost all religions of the world, they separate God from the material world. And that exactly is the problem, why most of the people are suffering materially. You have to understand that there is no separation whatsoever between matter and spirit. They are one and the same. They are the two sides of the same coin. And if you don't understand this relationship between the two, then life will be a problem. If there is one thing that I have to teach to the world, is to see the link between the two. One cannot exist without the other. You should be able to live intensely material and intensely spiritual, and it will not create any problem at all. It's not a new teaching. The Bhagavad Gita talks about karma yoga. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jyayo na karmanaha. You have to do your karma. Because karma is better than akarma. Action is better than inaction or non-action. But then the action that I'm going to talk about is not simply just sweat labor. It is going to be how you can bring on to your action the spirit behind it. That is skill in action. Everybody acts. And whenever I see some laborers working very, very hard, and the other day I saw some people carrying the carpets, very huge carpets, and they were sweating. I thought that they would have a heart attack, but getting paid very little money. But then there comes a man who is a finance broker and makes a lot of money. It's all a matter of bringing your intelligence, your discrimination to it, and that comes from using your God brain. I'll talk about it during this course, about how to use the God brain. The God brain is within us, that we don't use it. We use only the negative frontal lobe, which asks the question how, where, what, when. And people come and complain to me that I have followed you for so long, but nothing has happened. I said, sorry, you have not followed me. You have followed yourself, and that is the problem. This has been, and I have always been talking to you about manifestation, how you can manifest very quickly, very easily, by using your spiritual power, because you are God. You have to accept it, regardless of the fact that you are now doing a bad job, very hard job, and making very little money. But still, you are God. There is no doubt about it. But the problem is you are not using the power that you have within you, because we really are by nature, by human nature, by itself is negative. The divine nature also within, we don't use that nature. And this morning I was uh, on my reading table, and then I just picked up something that book said that please talk about me. So this is was very interesting. This is about Christ and an interpretation of what Christ did by Ramtha, this entity channeled through J.C. Knight, you know, and she gives a very good interpretation of Jesus manifesting fish and bread. There was only limited fish. There were a number of people, and Christ has to manifest fish and bread for everybody. This is not a story. This is something. The reason why I picked up this passage and for you to interpret. This is what you see in not only in Christianity, but if you go to the Hinduism, you also see from one grain or one rice grain comes out a lot of rice. This is a miracle done by Krishna. Krishna has the power to do that. And Christ does the same thing. So it is not about talking about the miracle and what is the basis of the miracle and how you can do the miracle yourself. And that will explain to you how to bring matter and spirit together. And that is the relevance of my talking about this. How to intensely spiritual is also intensely material. Now, this is a very beautiful presentation by Ramtha, because he is a higher intelligence talking. He says, when there is supply of fish, what is the response? Let's run to the market straight away, correct? This is how people, there is no fish, let's go to the market and buy the fish. This was a master who understood the relationship between mind and matter, and all he had to do was to change his mind on what he saw. So the fish and the bread became the seed that multiplied in his mind. And as long as he saw it, the supply was endless. Okay. He saw the fish and bread in his mind, and that was the seed. Where did the supply come from? This is a very important question. This is the mind asking. The supply came from one fish and one loaf of bread. This is the same thing that Krishna did. This is the thing that everyone can do. There are so many technologies available. You have to understand the relationship. The supply came from one fish and one loaf of bread. And all he needed to do was to make them multitudinous. So what he did is he kept creating echoes of the fish and the bread, and he was taking energy that was falling apart, and the energy was falling apart. And what he was doing simply, he was recoagulating it, giving them a frame of reference to coagulate into. Okay, the energy is fleeting. You are not able to hold this image of the fish and how to create from one fish a lot of fishes. This is not philosophy. This is science. I'm not going to go into the science, although I could. How we can create from one a multitude of fish and bread. Everybody can do it. This is how life can become intensely spiritual. If you become intensely spiritual, it doesn't mean that you will become poor. Now, so many poor, spiritual people are poor. Why? Because they have not understood spirituality in its proper sense. They think they equate spirituality with asceticism, with renunciation. They don't think that spirituality is a matter of gaining power, not losing power. Osho once said, spiritual people are really spiritless people. He was right. Yeah. They are spiritless people. You have to be full of spirit. If the true religious people are those who are full of spirit. And who are full of spirit, when you are full of spirit, then there is no end to what you can manifest. That's the most important thing, is how to be full of spirit. Load you up with spirit. And when you load you up with spirit, the spirit means God. The God energy, this part of the brain here, is fully powerful. The cerebellum, that's the God brain. And also the temporal lobe here on the right side of the brain. They have no limitation whatsoever. All the limitations start from here, from your negativity. And that is the reason why we are not able to succeed in life. Otherwise, there is no separation between mind and matter, or spirit and matter. They are one and the same. And this is what meditation is all about. Meditation is about going beyond our rational, limited consciousness. Rationality is the problem because it locks you into the negative reality. And it has become so unconscious. We have become so unconscious. Now I'll tell you, how the unconscious sabotages. There were a number of questions that were given to me, and then one of the questions was, I was reading it this morning, and this person who typed it made a small mistake, but it made a lot of sense to me, so that I thought I would share with you. For two reasons I want to share with you this. One is how our unconscious, the human unconscious behavior sabotages, because unconsciously, even and subconsciously also, we are completely negative. And we cannot wish something instantaneously happening to us. We can only believe that things won't happen. It is very difficult for things to happen. And it is easy for us to believe that by the end of the month, it is not possible to make $100,000. Everybody can relate to it. What everybody cannot relate to it is, by the end of the month, I can have $100,000. This is not only about money. It's about enlightenment too. By the end of the month, you can say, I will be thoughtless, completely be in the emptiness or nirvana, what Jesus said. That we cannot do. But what you can believe is, by the end of the month, I will be still the same. There is no way that I will become thoughtless by the time and be able to go and see the emptiness. So that we can relate to. So what the mind anticipates is, it's not going to happen. The money is not going to happen. The relationship is not going to happen. The disease is not going to be cured. This project will not be done. This contract will not be done. See, all these negative things we are able to accept as a course, as a matter of fact. But what you cannot accept is the opposite, that everything can happen, that we cannot accept. And that somehow creeps into whatever we do and whatever we think. And that's the example that comes from this question. There was a typo, and the typo was very significant. And the question that was given to me, can money and relationship come to me instantly without much work? It's a very interesting question. That's why I chose to answer this question. Can money and relationship come to me instantly without much work? Everybody wants that, and there is nothing wrong about it, and you can. And that's why I'm here for, to tell you that, I just started out with the example of Jesus, because, and also Krishna, both of them did the same thing. Just from one fish, many fish. Just from one grain of rice, many grains of rice. It is all technology, technology of the higher consciousness, not technology of the rational mind. You can do that. Okay. So we'll come to that in a little bit. But let me go to this question. Can money and relationship come to me instantly without much work? That was the real that was the question that was typed by this person. When she typed, she made a mistake, and the typo was here. Can money and relationship come to be instantly without much work? So instead of me, she typed B. Okay, it's very simple. One letter instead of M, she put B. So the question, as it was typed, is: can money and relationship come to be instantly without much work? And she has difficulty in putting the word me. The unconscious is happy to put the word be. So what's the difference? The difference is at the being level. Philosophically, I can accept that money and relationship can come instantaneously without much work. I can accept it as a philosophy. That is the reason why the typo occurred. The typo occurred because this person who typed it could not relate to the fact that relationship and money can come to her, because it should have been me, but she typed it as B. See how self-sabotaging. So, you have to be very, very conscious. So when I read something, I'm very, very conscious. Because I asked myself, immediately my higher self starts saying, this person has a problem in relating money and relationship come to her without much work and instantaneously. Okay, because it is really difficult. Instantaneously, my God, that's not going to happen. And without work, that's not going to happen. But that's what I told you. Jesus did not run to the market to get fish. Okay, but most people run to the market to get the fish because they think that they cannot manifest like Jesus. But we are living in a time that we are getting better and better and better, but we have not completely understood the relationship between matter and mind. There is a philosophy both within Hinduism and also in Buddhism too. Mind only. The philosophy is called Chitta Matra. Chitta Matra means only the mind exists. Now, this can be applied to why there is so much poverty, because the mind is completely preoccupied with negativity and poverty. What you see outside is only what you are inside. There is only one, teaching that I have to emphasize this during this 1 hour session, and that is, it is all in understanding the mind. You have to every time be able to take responsibility for whatever happens because you want it that way. It is very hard for you to accept that. Very hard. Because the ego hurts. No, I did everything that is possible. This is just philosophy. The way of life is not that everything is going to happen. We have limitations. And we are ready to accept that. We are not ready to accept that we can change everything. Now, all the channels are open now in a television. You are watching only one channel, the public channel. While you are watching the public channel, the other channels are also available. But the mind is focusing only on channel 13, but not the other channels. All that you need to do is to switch your channel. That is timeline jumping. That is going to occupy about 3 months of my teaching. Timeline simply means your destiny, your givens in this lifetime. You have to change those givens because the givens are not acceptable, because the money is not acceptable. The job is boring. This is not what I want to do. I'm doing it because of money. And then it is long hours, and the returns are not that attractive, because these things are your own creations. And that does not mean that you have to keep that. You have to somehow find a way to get out of that. But you cannot do it on the level of the mind. But you have to really open your mind to another timeline. Timeline simply means different destinies, different destinations that are simultaneously available to you at a given moment. In this moment, they gave you the example of different channels existing simultaneously. All that you have to do is you have to change the channel. And once you change the channel, then you are in a different space. But then you have to live life very consciously. And I always worry about my students, because whatever I teach, they keep doing whatever they have always wanted to do, and nothing changes. And some people have done extremely well, but most people haven't. The same teaching has worked for someone, for a few people, but for most people it didn't work. There's nothing wrong about the technique or the teaching. There is everything wrong about the individual. The individual is unconscious. He is unconscious about the passage of time. Time is very important. And then the last session, I talked about Bill Gates and Richard Branson. They were extremely conscious of their time. Business at the Speed of Light is a book by Bill Gates. Business at the Speed of Light. So how he relates to time. It has to grow that quickly. That's why within 15 years he became the richest man of the world, beating everyone in the list of old billionaires. So is Richard Branson. He did extraordinary things because he says every second counts. So you have to go into this microsecond, and that is important. Unless you do that, you cannot go anywhere. So look at the amount of possibilities that are available, the options that are available to everyone. It has nothing to do with education. Both of them, Bill Gates did not complete his college, and Richard Branson is also a high school graduate. That's it. So is the Apple Steve Jobs. So what is important is, and I remember Steve Jobs grabbing the jacket of his professor. Professor, your identity is with your jacket. This is not it. I don't have the identity crisis. That's why today I am in a suit, okay, in a jacket. And some years before I was Dattatreya Shiva Baba. Okay. When I changed my identity, people thought that you would lose all these people because people come to you because of the miracles that you do. And I told them many times that the only miracle that I have, the only city power I have, is to change your timeline. I can give you the wisdom of how to change your timeline. Timeline is your destiny. You are not condemned. You are not condemned to a bad relationship or a bad health. But then you have to remain beyond the mind. But how many of you honestly say that I don't have any identity? I don't have the same thoughts coming to me. I have only a fewer thoughts coming to me. Or I have only the unlimited thoughts coming to me. I'm perfectly peaceful. How many of you can say? You just, have a very objective look at what are the thoughts you have come and then what are you are struggling with. You have been struggling with money problem for 25 years, all your life. You have been struggling with relationship problem. You have been struggling with health problems. You are the same. Why? Because the brain is not functioning well. That's why I want to be very precise in my teaching. Instead of speaking, using the word mind, I use the word brain more often this time because the brain is more precise. Because I can tell you that most of these thoughts are coming from this area. The decisions are made from this area. And there is no coordination between the pituitary gland and the cerebellum. The cerebellum is able to think unlimited thoughts. But then when it goes through the pituitary and the frontal lobe, these thoughts are not allowed there. Is this a new finding by the science? No. It knew, this was known long time ago. The yogis knew about it. But their technology, their expression was very different. They used mythology and a different kind of neurobiology than what we know. But they are more profound comparatively to the modern science. And they knew how you can change your thought patterns. You can control your thoughts and can only have thoughts that are very productive and unlimited. Now, let me ask you one thing. This is a very important question that I ask myself. I want you to ask yourself. Have you put a deadline by which you wanted to put an end to all your limitations? Have you put a deadline? And when is the deadline? Once you have put the deadline, then you have to work very hard to see that the deadline, you meet the deadline. And by the deadline, that you will have only, say, 20 thoughts a day or 30 thoughts a day, or you have no thoughts at all, like Raman Maharshi, who would say that he will have no thought. And then whenever he has to have a thought, he has to really work hard to bring the thought to his mind. So he can bring the mind to that level so that you don't waste your energy. Our energy is being wasted all the time. So the course is also, I have redesigned this course. I have taught this course for a couple of years. But I'm not satisfied with the results because of one reason: people did not follow. So what I'm going to do for this one-year program is to put a lot of homework. And one important homework is how you spend every hour. So I have asked the tech people in the office to develop a program that you will be able to watch every hour. So this is the hour, this is the energy, this is the thought that is going to come to me, and this hour I can make maximum use of the time. because that is a time that a great idea can come and I can use it. Uh, And this is a wrong time that I may be, the universe will be sending some wrong ideas and I don't want to act upon it. So you have to, that way you become very, very alert. And if you become alert, then you will see that you are getting into a different mindset, completely a different mindset. If you just, I guarantee you, if you just remain totally conscious following this program, because there are so many things that you have to learn. I'm sitting here at this place, that, then I will have a different destiny. And if we move to another place, another direction, change the directions, then there is another, energy that I am going to be dealing with. It is important for you to learn all the possibilities. There are innumerable opportunities available at every moment, but you have to know how to get out of the mind and identify the time. So I'm going to give you additional help for people who are going to be enrolled in the program to work with astrologer whom I have trained, who on time, because to me astrology is time management. It is managing your time, and the time management is also wealth management, because time is money. You are paid for time, and I am paid for time. Everybody is paid for their time. And what is time? It's mind. Does anyone understand? Time is money. Time is mind. Time equals money. Time equals mind. Time equals health also, because your health deteriorates if time passes by. So what is time? Does anyone have a definition of time? I have in this course a different areas of time that I discuss, which starts with the physics of time, psychology of time, neurology of time, astronomy and astrology of time, economics of time, biology of time, time and futurology, theology of time. These are not available anywhere. It is my dream that these should be taught in schools. Time management is everything. Time management is money management. Time management is a matter of gaining more intelligence. Time management is also taking care of health. But nobody knows what time is and how they can use their time. From birth to death is what is in between is time. And if there is no education that is available, then that education is not giving us guidelines to go through life. Because life itself is time. Kala. I'm using an English word, time. But the Sanskrit word kala is very, very important, because Sanskrit is a divine language just as Hebrew is. It can give you a tremendous amount of understanding of what kala is as movement, as destiny, and how that can be reversed, and how there are different timings and different states of consciousness. So for about 3-4 months, we will focus on time and time management, through which we will manage our time, manage our money, manage our intelligence, manage our health. I'm very, very confident that if you just focus attention for even the 4 months, that will give you enough reason for you to continue the rest of the program. The rest of the program, what you're going to do in the second part is the Siddhi. Siddhi is acquiring supernormal powers just by mastering your mind. or the supermind. You have to get beyond the rational mind, situate yourself right at the cerebellum area, and also bringing into uh, functional levels certain parts of the brain that we do not use, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland. They are very important glands for which will help you to give you a higher consciousness, that will give you an understanding of the relationship between mind and matter. Jesus did not run to the market to get fish. He knew the seed, the fish. One fish can create many fishes. For Krishna, one grain of rice can create many grain of rices. It is a matter of understanding the relationship between it. Then only the human becomes the divine. And we are now very close to this age. I'm very happy to be living at this time. That's why I came back to this earth plane at this time. We all be able to do a lot more during this time. The world has been changing. And that's why I want to create a global meditation forum. By bringing all masters together. Now the masters themselves are very threatened by the other masters. That's silly. Okay, nobody is complete. Everybody can complement the other person's teaching. That's why I'm stepping out of this group of being termed as a guru. But my own identity is a scholar, a spiritual scientist, a phenomenologist of religion, who can see the commonality between Jesus and Krishna and not create a problem between religions. Because the religions all teach something that is very, very precious. That's why Einstein said, where science ends, there religion begins. Imagination is better than intellect. Because the intellect is so limited. It is logic. Do you want to completely spend your life subjecting yourself to logic? No. You should be able to get beyond it and get everything that you want. It is a matter of systematically training your brain and picking up concepts of time, picking up focus. The focus, when you just focus on one fish, in a way that Patanjali says, first, you tie your consciousness to the fish. That is the first step. You don't really distract. It's called dharana. Dharana means just concentrate. Deshabandha chittasya dharana. This is tying the mind to a particular spot, in this case to the fish. And Jesus knew how to do it. How to do it? I'm going to do it in a different way by giving you the original sutras of Patanjali, the sounds of Patanjali. The sounds go beyond meaning. The sounds carry the relationship, the secret behind the relationship between mind and matter. That's what it is. And I gave you the example of how be and me, only one word difference, be and me, can create a completely different meaning and say something to you. So it is a very important thing to understand the sounds. So part of learning the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is understanding the relationship between sound and meaning. Meaning is the object, mind and matter. Mind is sound. And if you do that, deshabandha chittasya dharana, tie the mind to one fish or one grain of rice. When you go on doing it in a certain way, in a continuous way, deshabandha chittasya dharana. I'll teach in the master class how to do that. I've done it before, but at that time my knowledge was not profound because Patanjali was not inside me, and I was looking at commentators alone. Okay. Although I did a better job than anyone else, but still that was not Patanjali. Now I have the advantage of channeling Patanjali as he used these miracle sutras. Then you go to the next step of focus, pratyaya. Pratyaya is another state of consciousness where you go beyond the sound and beyond the meaning to a concept level. Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. When you focus on these sounds, you will get into that state, to put it very simply. These sounds will take you there, and then there is a method you have to adopt to practice this. Then comes a time of ultimate focus, samadhi. Samadhi is not just trance. Samadhi is ultimate focus, where there is nothing remains but the object. Only the object shines. Arthamatra, nirbhasham, swarupa sunyam. Even you are not there. Only the object there. That is samadhi. So it is a science. It is a science of manifestation. And you can apply this to any level. You know, one thing again and again I will come to this point. The problem with us is we just come here. It is just like reading another book or listening to another lecture and not practicing it. And if you are not going to practice it, nothing is going to happen. It is something like I am God, I am God, I am God, but I don't know if I will have cancer. That's ridiculous. Then what do you trust? You trust only in the fact that you are getting old and it is very likely that you have cancer. We have to change that. Humanity as a whole has to really live by another model, and the other model that I'm saying and giving you is there are different timelines, different destinies available. Collectively, we have to get together and then experience consciousness. The study of consciousness should be available even from the kindergarten onwards. Then we can build up consciousness. Then understand that we are not conditioned. That is truly living in the now. Living in the now is not just sit there and watch your thoughts and then say, no, I'm not bothered by the thoughts. You can even get to a level of a divine coma, thoughtless, but that is not really what we want to accomplish. Then you also die. But then you get into a divine coma and die, or you get into an ordinary coma and die, then there's no difference between that. That is not mastering consciousness. Mastering consciousness is to truly understand the relationship between mind and matter. We know through Einstein's equation that energy and matter are one and the same, but that we have not lived it. That's why my final teaching, the third section, is on the light body. They are all related. It's not that light body is something, a concept that is off the wall. Light body is very real. Why am I teaching the light body? Because that is ultimate freedom. As long as you have the meat body, you will have problem. That is the true meaning of Jesus telling, "This is my flesh. This is my flesh is this bread. This is the blood. This wine is the representative of my blood. Representation of my blood is this wine. Representation of my body is the bread." Why did he do that? What is this funny ritual? Life is beyond this flesh and blood. That's why the blood is so important in Christianity. That's why he talked about eternal life. Eternal life cannot happen with this physical body. That's why Paul said, the kingdom will not be inherited by the flesh and blood body. What do you have to do? In the wink of an eye, the body will turn into light. Again, time, the wink of an eye. It's not going to take too long at all. Again and again, whether I teach the light body or whether I teach about time, it's all about time. Even light is also about time. Because what is light after all? What did Einstein say about light? If you vibrate at the speed of light, you will become timeless. So light body is also a matter of understanding time. So if you go to other planes, then, according to the scriptures, different planes vibrate at different levels, and they create different time zone, And here, it is very, very slow. And then we subscribe to it. Why do we have to get paid at the end of the month? You can get paid. Every second somebody is getting paid. Bill Gates gets paid every second. He does. Every second he gets paid. That's a matter of his relationship with time. But do we care about our time? No. We care about most people care about just being unconscious about time. And then go and sit before the television and you are forgot. You're completely transported into total unconscious behavior. You are wasting life. And while you are watching TV, do you know that you are killing your time? You are killing your health. Everything happens because you are completely losing your consciousness. You can watch TV fully conscious. That's another matter. That needs training. Yogastha Guru Karmani. Go and fight in the battlefield, Krishna told Arjuna. But then still don't lose your consciousness. Still remain in yoga. We are not at that level. You have to train. That's part of the training here. That is again fully being material and fully being spiritual. So they are not different at all. They are not different at all. You don't have to lose your material life in order to become spiritual. And if you do, that which most people have done, is that they have become penniless. They chant all the time, and then sing and dance, and then they find themselves they are 50, 60-year-old. There are groups. I don't want to mention the name of the group. They have gone completely broke. No money. Because why? They did not follow the right philosophy. They have not followed the philosophy that mind and matter are not different. They have been told that God is renunciation, that God is anti-money, that God is against partying. God is not against all this. He created this world for the enjoyment of the senses. You will be depressed, totally depressed, if you deny your senses. You may say that you are denying your, you are happy by denying and controlling your senses, but that's a myth. You are fooling yourself. The key is you have to remain detached, but still engaged. We can do them together. There is no division between the two. They are the two different sides of the same coin: spirituality and materiality. And if we make a distinction, that we have made the distinction, that is the problem for all our limitations, for all our suffering. You can totally be unlimited, but then the most important thing is the Spirit, God. One of the most important things that I'm going to teach in this program is God. Who is God? God is not someone that who is sitting only in heaven. He does sit in heaven. I have no problem with that. And there is not only one God. There are multiples of gods. And each God represents a certain power. If you want health, you have to go to a health God. It's something like go to a cardiologist for a heart problem. And that's another thing that people have to know, that there are different gods for different areas. If for money, you have to go to your money god. Who are these gods? These are part of yourself, part of your consciousness, and also part of some higher energy that resides in this space. They are not different at all. Because every time you move in a different level of consciousness, different timeline, you encounter different beings with the different energy patterns. So that is again something that is not available, and then people, are unconscious again. We do not even know how to pray. And that's another thing. So you have to have a proper understanding of who God is, and how to give your life to God. To me, in a neurological term, surrendering to God is surrendering to the cerebellum. Then you can have everything that you want to have. Then kind of use the cortex, which is the rational brain, to coordinate with the unlimited God brain. Then you will have everything. And this is going to be a year-long course that I have carefully structured, and there is a difference between the other two programs that I did for the last 2 years and this one, because it's about 80% new material, and also more engagement, more homework. And of course, you should do the homework. Nobody is going to go and then watch over your shoulders to see if you are doing this thing or not. If you, as I told you, totally surrender to God, which is your higher self, which is being about conscious, then you can completely change your life. And there are a lot of questions. I don't think I have time to go through. Let me see if there is any things that I need to address which I have not. Is there anything additional to this course which is custom made? Yes. There will be some custom made things for you to understand how each time will work differently for different people, depending on your horoscope. That will be custom made. And then you will be able to also engage with the people when you are on the time management. That's again custom made. And then one thing that is new is the boot camp, and I'm going to organize people to join into groups, and it is entirely up to the participants, so that within the 1 year that you will change everything about your life. I think there are other questions which probably I have covered during this discussion. So it is incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy. Don't make your life difficult. At every moment, there is an opportunity to jump and get into another timeline. Be a timeline jumper. Be aware. It doesn't matter whether you have skill sets or not, whether you have a PhD or AMD or not. It's not needed. What is needed is consciousness and then the technology to jump into another timeline, to know the technology of the Siddhi powers and also the principles of the 13 dimensions that your light body activation can happen. So that's all I wanted to say during this time. So I invite you, and I promise you that if you commit 100% to this program for this 1 year, next year, your life will be very, very different. Then even if I ask you to stop changing your consciousness and meditating, you will not, because you would have benefited a lot. But then you have to put 100% effort and to remain totally alert and follow the program. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai, for your expanded teachings and valuable answers to the questions that were sent in. For those of you who have felt the calling in your heart that this is the right program for you, this 12-month masterclass with Dr. Pillai starts on June 1st. What you need to know for enrolling in this program is down below there's a link. You can click on that and you'll see all the details of the program as well as how to enroll yourself. May 15th is a date that you'll want to remember. It is the date in which the early bird pricing ends. Dr. Pillai, out of compassion, is giving a special pricing for those who are willing to take that leap as soon as possible. So that's May 15th. The program starts on June 1st. For those of you who need a little more time to be able to make the decisions or figure out your finances, we've extended the enrollment to June 15th. And if you enroll after the start of the program, don't worry, you'll be able to catch up on the first month's teachings. So I want to give you a little bit of the nuts and bolts of what is in the program. Of course, you've heard all of you needed to hear from Dr. Pillai about the benefits and his personal promise to you. When you enroll in the program, you receive an exclusive membership website where all the teachings are housed in an organized way. You'll have lifetime access to this site and the teachings. They will never go away for you. You can watch the teachings on video. You'll download the audios and take them on the go. You can read the text companions. You'll be able to interact with fellow members of this global community, share your experiences, ask questions, and of course have unlimited customer support. You have rituals being performed on your behalf every single day, sometimes multiple times a day in India, and that supports your soul level evolution so that you can hear the teachings and practice the practices, as well as have these rituals support you on a regular basis through your journey. Dr. Pillai is always full of surprises, and in this program especially, we should expect the unexpected. He is always bringing the folks in the Lightbody program with him wherever he goes, to all the vortexes he visits. So we can always expect for additional bonuses and things that he wants to give away. So if you are ready at this time, take this opportunity. Usually, sometimes we wait lifetimes for an opportunity to practice and take the journey with a master. but the wait has ended and the time is now. So again, May 15th, the enrollment for the early bird pricing ends. June 15th is the start of the program. If you have any questions at all, please contact us at office@pillaicenter.com. If you need any type of support, please contact us. If you think you'll be enrolling and you're not quite there yet, please contact us. We're ready to support you in whichever way we possibly can. We look forward to witnessing your continued evolution and hope to see you on this journey with Dr. Pillai. Namaste.
Why am I teaching the Lightbody program? It's an obligation that I owe to the human race from times immemorial. Every time I came to the earth plane, I wanted every human being to remember that they are not just flesh and blood, but they are pure light and bliss unlimited. Not just remember, but turn the body into light, literally. In every birth, I must confess that I failed because the times were not right. The good news is that the time is right now, and it is right now. Mother Earth herself is ready to become a light planet, so it's the most conducive time. Dark forces will continue to keep humanity in the ignorant meat body of disease, aging, pain, and death. My message will ring a bell in the souls of those who have already known the truth. I invite those souls to participate in my goal, a global effort, to create heaven on earth, wherein everyone will be an angel of light. I have carefully put together a 3-part curriculum that can give you a 200% life, 100% material, and 100% spiritual. God bless.